Lopez.
Hey, hey, hey.
And I think Dr. Bob is on his way, aka Biff Baskerville is on his way. Um, Yo, Damon, real quick. So, what you been up to?
Nothing much, man. Just trying to wait for you to go live.
Oh yeah, we got.
Now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, there we go. Welcome to everybody who's just tuned in on Facebook. You're listening to Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. I'm AJ Woodson along with Damon K. Jones and the lovely Lorraine Lopez in the place to be. There you go.
Yeah, we up and live.
Okay, so we are live. That's what's up. That's what's up. So Damon, what's good? What you been up to? What you been up
Nothing
to?
much, man. Just joined the response from the latest issue of Black Westchester magazine and continuing covering the issues. Unfortunately, due to personal business, I would be in Houston, Texas, right now, at the conference for the National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice. So big shout out to them. So unfortunately, I won't be there. I am still in New York, as you can see.
It could be a live remote or something.
Yeah,
from Houston
right.
or something.
That'd be yeah.
Live from Houston.
Yeah, live from Houston.
It's Damon live. No.
Yeah, but I was hoping to make it, but God had other plans. But I thought it would have been a great trip. Houston is the birthplace of black law enforcement organizations. The first black police officer organization was in Houston. I believe it was in 1946. I believe they were the first black police organization. So it would have been something historic to go back to the home of black law enforcement organization. It was called the Houston Black Police Union. For some reason, when black officers talk union talk, white officers get scared. I don't understand what's the problem with that. But anyway, so
some black officers get scared too.
Well, yeah, that too. But anyway, it would have been great to go back there, man. I was teaching a class. I actually teach a class, and the class is called "The Importance of Black Law Enforcement Organizations." I was excited about this one because we're fresh off the Janus case, and the issue of that union members do not have to pay, not forced to pay union dues, and the ramifications around that. And I wrote an article in Black Westchester that the Janus decision, a lot of union people are saying that the Janus decision will destroy unions. But I really believe once the law is clear, I think the Janus decision can create a union renaissance within labor, especially among black people, because, the reality is, right, other than law enforcement and some other or civil service, public sector labor unions, black people are locked out of a lot of unions, right? It's hard for a black person to get into the plumbers union and these other unions, and the truth of the matter, Samuel Gumpters, who is claimed to fame to be the father of labor unions. Labor unions were started to keep blacks from having a job. Because after, and this is fact. I'm not, DK Damon on this racial shit. No, this is U.S. history. A lot of times we don't want to face what that race plays a role, and race is a DNA in a lot of U.S. history and decisions that are being made. So after the Emancipation Proclamation and blacks were freed, right? Guess what? white people didn't know how to do the trade jobs because they never did them before, right? Because they had slaves to do them, right? They didn't know carpentry. They didn't know they didn't know how to build a house. They didn't know how to do anything, right? Washington D.C., the White House was built by slaves. You know, that's an actual fact. We're talking facts. We're not talking just to be talking. We're talking facts. So then after that, once the slaves were free, right? And they needed work, they had to go to the freed slaves because they knew how to do the work because they were doing it for 400 years for free. Right? So now but then the poor whites, oh, come on in, Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob can co-sign on what I'm saying. Then the poor whites, right, couldn't get the job because they didn't know the trade. So unions were formed in the beginning to get poor whites jobs. And then it was hard for the black people, the black trade workers, to get in these unions because they were trying to get the poor whites jobs. You know, but as we see today, unions are also in the public sector. Blacks benefited from more in the public sector because we were able to get in these public sector jobs and help the middle class and build middle class around working in government jobs. You know, according to, if you go back in 1992, even in the report, the African American Advisory Board, Andrew O'Rourke, the Westchester County Department of Correction employed more black men than any other public sector job in Westchester County. So you had the Department of Corrections, right, and you had General Motors
in Tarrytown,
right, and General Motors in Tarrytown, which the black middle class in Westchester County benefit from for at least a couple of decades.
My dad, my grandfather,
right.
Bob's dad.
Right. So it was. I wanted to talk about that because I think now after the Janus decision, where public sector workers are not forced to pay union dues, and as a black public sector worker, the unions are outside of labor, right? When you just deal with what they call collective bargaining or what's in the contract between the labor union and the municipality, but those issues that black officers face on a daily basis for being black and discrimination, right? Unions can't help them with that. They don't help them with that. I have an article where San Francisco, one of the president of the black law enforcement officers, female, resigned from the San Francisco Police Union because she said it was a waste of time being part of an institution that doesn't help black officers and deal with the issues that they face being in the San Francisco Police Department. And that's not everywhere. If you look at the mission statement of a union, especially a police union, it doesn't deal with racism, bigotry, inherent biasness, all the stuff that we know exists in the institution of policing and actually exists against black officers. The union is doesn't do it, right? They don't address it.
Well, what's the name mentioned that at the thing where y'all spoke? The Yonkers Police Union guy, Keith
Olsen.
He mentioned that when the thing y'all spoke at, that they don't address that. They don't.
Well, he's the president. Why not? Even if you have a black president, they fail to address those issues because they're too worried about their white counterparts. And the black officers get swept under the bus, for the racism and bigotry and retaliation that's in their own police department. So you can't even be you would expect more from a black union president, but when you don't get that, then that's why I think it's a union renaissance, especially because of black officers, because money should be given to black law enforcement organizations so we could defend our officers with these situations. We think these incidents happen once in a blue moon, but I get calls every day, all day, from police officers throughout the nation that deal with issues, and just because they're black, or retaliation issues because they're black and they speak out against certain things that go on in their department. So I mean, it's definitely needed, and I think national organizations like Noble, National Association of Blacks in Criminal Justice, the National Black Police Association, and big up to Sonia Wiggins Pruitt, who is now the new chairwoman of the National Black Police Association. Big shout out to her. And all the other different black law enforcement organizations and Latino law enforcement officers too, that it's time to look into these issues. It's time to, with this Janus decision, to see where this goes, because I'm there's a lot of officers that need help, that are facing discrimination and retaliation because of their color.
You got well, you might not have noticed while you were talking. You got a lot of thumbs up. There was people was clicking on that thumbs up on the video, like mad people. And Philip L. Humphrey said, "Teach 'em, big brother." Shout out to those who are on now, tuned in. Caitlin Gleason, Omi Medea, Atif, Khalil. He said, "Family, what's up? AJ, what's up? My guy, much love to the First Lady of BW, Lorraine Lopez. D, what's good?" D. Wilson said, "What's up?" to all of us. Who else is tuned in? Anthony Old School Mitchell, Glenn P. Butler, Nancy Cater
Maldonado.
There
Mike,
you go.
Mike
There you go.
Cater's sister.
Louise Cherico, Leola from the campaign. Lily.
Lily,
Yeah.
what's up? We were just talking about you a couple of weeks ago.
James Cook, and I cannot pronounce this gentleman's name. But shout out to you, Nesto Acosta, is a DJ from Virginia. Lefty D from the Money Making Mob in Mount Vernon. Ayo Joints.
Yes, Lefty.
Louise said it's a vicious cycle when the majority of the city is black, but only white people vote. Leaders need to honor that minority. And I wanted to address something before we go any further. We were having this conversation. I was watching the conversation go on and on. Andre Wallace, Councilman Andre Wallace, posted something on Facebook, and I was just watching a lot of going back and forth. And I had wrote this, and I wanted to share it. First thing I said was, first thing we the people, the residents, the taxpayers need to do is ask the questions and not take anything that comes out of the mouth of any elected official as gospel. We need to ask the questions, then look it up ourselves, read the charter, etc., so we can navigate through the political propaganda and bullshit of the mayor, city council, controller, senator, assembly members, president, etc. Because if we don't, all those people I just named can just tell us anything. You have the right and should ask the questions. Get them to show you where they get the information from so you can read it yourself and interpret it for yourself, or you are no different than a cult follower. This is not just where Mayor Thomas is concerned. I'm talking about, and I put in capital letters, every elected official, just so we're clear. My second post was, and I tagged all the city council members: Andre Wallace, Marcus A. Griffin, Janice Duarte, Mayor Richard Thomas, Lisa Copeland, and Delia Farguson, and Deborah Reynolds. We need everyone to collectively get it done, because the problem with the back and forth is all the residents see this is not getting done, and they want results, not excuses. Those who are getting it done, we need you to find a way to work with those who are not, because everyone needs to play their role. And from the fines and the other issues in the city, it's obviously that they're not. I'm not here to talk about who's not doing it, and I don't care who said what and who did what or promised what. We the people want all the aforementioned to get it together as our elected officials. Each person has a job you were elected to do, and at least start with what we do have and what we can do, instead of running back telling us what you don't have. We understand the city needs more tax revenue, and a lot of other things, you would be surprised how much outside entities, the county and the state, would help us if they see us helping ourselves. Right now, they do not see that. And I've spoken to many of them, and they also have publicly said it. Residents, you need to stop getting into the back and forth like Bloods and Crip gang mentality. We are all in the same gang. Despite who you support and voted for, we either all win or all lose. When we all realize that, we will be better off. I'm done. The bickering, I'm done. You can continue your bickering back and forth if you want. And then I wrote, mic drop. And that's what I wrote. That's what I had to say to all those people. I mean, I really don't care who did what. People just see the politicians fighting at this point. And also, I want to make clear, because people are talking about the mayor. They're talking about the equipment and the stuff that the mayor says he needs. I was also at the press conference last year, 2017, when the city council announced the equipment they were getting. And the Mayor Richard Thomas, stood with them on some we all in the same gang shit. And he did not say at that press conference, and he was not complaining then, we need more equipment and we need more money. So the point is, since that press conference and those things were brought, what has been done? We don't see what's getting done. The EPA or the department, whoever's suing us, the feds, they don't know anything is getting done. You can't blame. The problem I have with, and this is specifically for Mayor Richard Thomas. Mayor Richard Thomas has been in city government since 2012. So when we first got these papers from the county in 2014, yes, Mayor Davis was the mayor, but Richard Thomas was the councilman who chaired over the mayor's office and over DPW. So you can't talk about it was the mayor's fault in the last administration, not the council's fault. And in this administration, when you're the mayor, now it's the council's fault, not the mayor's fault. You were in government the whole time. There's no way that all of this and everybody's got blame and you share no responsibility. Stop blaming everyone else. We did not put you in office. We didn't elect you to be blaming. I don't want to hear like my little nephews and nieces, oh, they won't give me what I need and they won't spend money. You sound like a little kid. Work with what you got and get it done. Do something. If you were the CEO of a corporation and you tried that tactic, they would fire your ass, the board would get rid of you, and they would bring in somebody else who can get it done. We elected you to get it done, and that's what we want. And the council, all of y'all need to find a way to work together, and that's all I have to say. And Bob has definitely got something to say because I can see the look on his face. Go ahead.
Well, I guess I'm going to circle back to the discussion that I walked in on. My apologies to my co-hosts and to the audience members for being late, specifically about the union stuff. But let me first, I have to say something about what's going on in the city of Mount Vernon. Look, it is not sufficient for anyone to say, get it done, because what is at dispute is the procedures which the respective parties in the city government have to follow in order to get it done.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, but go ahead. Go ahead.
And that is what is at dispute.
Yeah.
Just like it's been at the heart of the dispute between the mayor over Memorial Field and over the residency question and over Andre's company and every other damn thing else that's going on in the city. The matter's not going to be resolved until the residents of Mount Vernon weigh in. And quite honestly, I have to tell the residents of Mount Vernon, I think my general impression is that a lot of people are suffering from ignorance of the civic process in the city of Mount Vernon. It's a big, big problem. People continue to act as if the mayor can simply impose his will on the council and on the Board of Estimate and contract with respect to his budgetary priorities. He can't. The mayor does not have the authority, the unilateral authority, everyone, to pass a budget. Budgets can be passed over the mayor's wishes, over the mayor's opposition. That is how our city government works. If you don't like the city government working like that, then change the charter so that the mayor can pass the budget, approve a budget, and every damn thing else. But right now, it can't happen like that. Y'all keep on asking the city council and the comptroller to abdicate their responsibility in the budgetary process. The mayor has made a number of disastrous decisions before the day he walked into office
Absolutely.
that have eroded the fundamental trust which is required for the city council and the board of estimate to give him the benefit of the doubt. There are people who are now sitting in office who should not be there. This is an issue that we are still in court over. It has not been resolved. Joe Spezio should not be in the city of Mount Vernon. He should not be a commissioner in the city of Mount Vernon. He's not resides in the city of Mount Vernon. Bob Kelly attested to that in his filing before.
He doesn't reside in the state.
I mean, he doesn't reside in the state. He lives in Florida.
Which makes him illegal.
Ineligible
for any sworn in law enforcement position.
for any law enforcement positions. And it raises serious questions about the ethics of the mayor's administration. That he would be allowed to sit in office when he does not have the qualifications. Moreover, when there's a lot of information that has been circulating that calls into question Joe Spezio's ethics. What is it? He listen.
He's a bum.
Okay.
There's no way that
He's
Joe.
He's a bum and he's a bum and he's a snitch.
There's no way that Joe should be in there. No way. He shouldn't be hauling city in the trash in the city of Mount Vernon. I don't know how he got a license. The question that we have raised about his role in busting unions. He's a union breaker. That's what he is.
Exactly.
Was confirmed this past Monday when the Westchester County government rescinded his contracts to haul garbage in Westchester County for nearly $1.45 million at least, because he owed the labor union's retirement fund $4 million.
And he didn't pay. He didn't have workman's
He didn't
compensation.
pay.
And he had work and he didn't have workman compensation.
And he didn't have workman's compensation.
Where did they take him out of? What towns?
The county.
The
Just
county,
the county
right now
contracts.
as the county.
The thing.
He
the
lost all the
contracts
county
for the county,
contracts.
the airport, the jail, the county.
Oh,
Can we show that to the viewers? Because I want the viewers to know that this is the truth.
There's a screenshot.
Where is it?
I have to send it to you. Hold on a second.
Because I have it in text message.
So that means that dumpster that's sitting at the parking lot over at the
Department.
county office has got to go, right?
Yeah,
No,
they're
this is what it means. This is what it means. What it means is that the city council and the comptroller have no reason whatsoever to give the mayor the benefit of the doubt and insert into the budget line items for the various commissioners that he says he needs, because every time he gets the money, he makes questionable decisions. Decisions that may well be illegal. Lawrence Picari should not be the damn corporation counsel. The man is incompetent. He has allowed the city to get involved in so many lawsuits that now are possibly will put us in hock for millions and millions of dollars. We keep on losing. We're sending money out to law firms. Why the hell would anyone give the mayor the benefit of the doubt on anything? The people in Mount Vernon need to insist that the mayor follow the procedures.
You can say fucking.
Yeah. It's ridiculous. And the mayor's under indictment. I want to repeat what's the brother in the city council meeting? You know what I'm talking about, D.
Oh, Irwin Billy?
Yes, Erwin Billy was absolutely right. The people in Mount Vernon have to be out of their mind. Y'all have got to be crazy.
Let me tell you something. Look, I love my black
The
people,
paper's
man.
showing too. The
This-
document.
I love. Here's the document. You can take it down.
Can we?
We'll make a link for everybody. You know, matter of fact, I'll just put the document up in the group.
Okay.
Look. The reality is this, man. It's so damn embarrassing, right? That only in Mount Vernon that this can go on. Only in a city that is governed by the majority of black people that this can continue to happen. Like there's legal documents that this man should not be commissioner, and sworn police officers, sworn police management, you know, and for the officers that want to twist my words around and all this bullshit, he attacking us. No, if you're not doing nothing, I'm not attacking you, right? But if you're a good cop, you should be outraged. Or if you're a good law enforcement, you should be outraged that a garbage man is running your police department. You should be really upset because this is a reflection on your job, no matter how hard work. And I've always said it. Mount Vernon has such the hardest working police officers in Westchester County. Right? Our officer with 4 years on the job has more experience than an officer in White Plains, Greenberg, even an officer in Westchester County Police Department that makes 20, 30, almost 40% more than they do because they've seen more. Right? But you have to have pride in yourself that the mayor is making you look like a fool. Here's a man that has to stay in Florida 6 months out of the year.
6 months in a day.
And he's giving commands from Florida to a police department. You have a garbage man sitting in the living room giving commands to a police department. And what happens is that they catch another lawsuit. Like when do y'all wake up, man? Like when do you wake up? I mean, where's your self-respect? Where's your self-respect at the point? You know, you got a nerve to talk about, well, you know what? You know, Damon's just a CO. But you're taking orders from a garbage man. You're taking orders from a garbage man.
You're taking unlawful orders from a garbage man.
Exactly. Not only that, you're taking orders from a confessed federal snitch and someone that is a prime suspect of a criminal case. And you got a badge on your chest.
Well, isn't it because of the environment that they're in? They're afraid of retaliation?
You got a gun. What the hell you need afraid?
You have a union. And if your union actually did its damn job, which is to protect the interests of the members, both contractually and legally, you're being placed in jeopardy right now.
Look, unfortunately for that incident with Lat George, every officer that's involved all the way up to the top will probably be named in the lawsuit. And the sad thing about it is that you have elected officials as witnesses that and also sad thing about it is that, you know what, you know, Sean, love you to death, brother, but you got a letter straight from Andre not to have these things happen. You know, I mean, come on, man. You know, enough is enough, man. It's not. It's, you know what? It's bigger than Mount Vernon. You know, it's bigger than Mount Vernon. It's an embarrassment to black people. Period. And I would be a hypocrite, you know, if I'm going all throughout the country, and I'm not critical of the police department that the city that I live in. You know, and the first ignorant shit that come out their mouth, well, you don't have to live here. It doesn't matter. Even if I didn't live here, if I'm in White Plains at a restaurant and Mount Vernon comes on the TV, all the white people sitting at the bar look at me. So this is a reflection of black people throughout Westchester County. And another problem is I don't understand why black people throughout Westchester County is now outraged of what's going on in this black city, because it shows a lack of respect from those elected officials from county, state, and even federal level on a black majority city. They don't give a fuck what goes on in that city. And the only reason why Spezio became a real subject because he started wilding out in other cities.
During the 1960s, the last time Black America had to engage in sustained thought about the problems that we have as a community, one of the diagnoses was that we live in a state of internal colonialism. Bob Blauner, the sociologist, came up with this concept. And there is no better proof of this than the fact that we have people whose socioeconomic standing, residency, and race have executive control over our city, and they do not live here. Richard Thomas has opened up the city of Mount Vernon and its mostly black majority population to continued internal colonialism, thanks to the presence of Joe Spezio and all the other henchmen who live there, whose fundamental purpose is to do what they did in Tuscaloosa, Florida, where they formed a shadow government and drained the coffers of the city. That's what's going on. Joe is a carpetbagger. He needs to get his ass out of the city of Mount Vernon. And because Richard allowed this to happen, no one should trust him. He's not worthy of trust. He needs to be held to the procedures vigorously. It's ridiculous that we even have to debate about this type of shit.
Caller, please hold. Go ahead.
Let the caller come on.
Caller, you're on the People Before Politics radio show. Please state your name and your purpose for calling. Hello? Oh, call back. The call must have got dropped. Go ahead.
I mean, but we have essentially the black residents in the city of Mount Vernon, because we are the majority. The position that we take sets the tone for the other elements of the city. We have essentially denied the historical lessons of the 1960s that insist that there has to be a degree of autonomy and control over our own institutions, starting with the municipalities where we are the majority. That is not happening here. Richard should be ashamed of himself. As far as I'm concerned, he is a betrayer of the traditions of black freedom that he likes to invoke.
Let me, for those who want to call, because people are saying, can they call in? The number is 718-705-4959. First caller, hold on, here we go. Caller, please state your name and your purpose for calling.
Peace and love, Atif Coleman here.
Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?
Peace, brother.
Hey,
Atif.
I'm good. What's up, D? What's good?
Yeah,
How you
what's
doing,
up?
Lorraine?
What's up?
Hey, how you
Robert,
doing?
how are you?
I'm good, my brother.
Good to hear. Good topics. Good
screams.
so far. I'm enjoying it. Yeah, good screen. I'm enjoying it so far.
So, do you have something that you wanted to add? I know you were asking, can you call in? I know you have comments that you put in the comment section.
Yeah, well, I was just pretty much agreeing with, some of the things that, majority of the things that Robert was talking about. But I think what it really boils down to is a lack of knowledge on the residents' part of how the city is supposed to be run. Because it's already been established, we have a mayor that likes to, he's better than Spielberg. He likes to create propaganda and create information to mislead the public. So the people need to know the letter of the law and how the government runs in Mount Vernon. And I think if they knew that and they compare it to what Richie's talking about, the mayor's talking about, they'll see that this man is a fraud, he's a liar, and he needs to be put in jail. Before it was just about getting him out of office. Richard Thomas needs to go to jail. It's been proven. He's proved it himself, from Memorial Field to now this with engineer. It's a very simple procedure. 95, the council made it very inexpensive for the city and made it very easy that one of the either it would be the DPW commissioner or the deputy be the city engineer. What Richard wants to do is he wants to ignore the charter, because Richard doesn't follow rules. It's got to be his way or no way. So he doesn't follow the charter, the rules. He wants to create a new city engineer position, which which goes against what the charter is saying. The charter is saying, listen, the engineer's got to be either the deputy commissioner or the commissioner of DPW. So it'll save a third person. It'll save a third salary. That way we have a commissioner and an engineer inside DPW. And that's a great idea. So all we need to do is put the engineer or make whoever's the DPW commissioner and deputy commissioner a engineer. That's it. That's it. We're good. But he wants to break policy and break rules, and that's what's stirring up this back and forth. People need to understand that. The mayor is not following the rules and the charter, and that's why council and Brother Wallace are stepping up to the plate and saying, no, Mayor, it don't work this way.
Which is their job.
I mean, they do have a job to do, right?
They do.
When they took their oath, they took an oath to
rubber stamp the decisions of the mayor.
To defend the charter.
Yep.
That was I watched them swearing. That was their swearing.
No. That's not what the oath that they took, according to many of the residents of Mount Vernon. They took an oath to rubber stamp the decisions of the mayor.
I need you to turn down your phone or your computer, whatever it is. I can hear the echo.
I want to just.
You can hear me. I got nothing on, AJ. I turned it off. I got no feedback here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Yeah,
I don't hear anything.
It sounds better now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to echo a point that Atif made very quickly, and that is that the mayor continues to engage in propaganda, and all of his writing we would just best describe as agit-prop.
Explain what that means.
It's propaganda that's designed to agitate people, and it was original. Its origins is from the kind of propaganda that was put out by the Soviet Union during the Cold War. That's what Richard is doing, and I'm going to give you an example of this. On July 2nd, the mayor, in response to the announcement of the lawsuit, the filing of the lawsuit by the EPA, published an article in the online platform Medium. The title of the article is Plaintiffs, United States Government versus Defendants, Ernie Davis, Maureen Walker, Marcus Griffin, Andre Wallace, Lisa Copeland, et al. Now, my point in saying this is that's not what the title of the lawsuit is.
It says City of Mount Vernon.
It says, yes, right. EPA versus the City of Mount Vernon.
And Richard Thomas is the CEO of the City of Mount Vernon.
So here's Rich deliberately distorting the legal meaning of these documents for the purpose of scoring cheap political points. And he continues to do this. It's like Rich this is his MO. This is an MO. We don't need dishonest leaders. I'm sorry, and I'm going to just shut up. Go on, Atif, because you did call him.
No, I look, Rob, I love it when you get on, man, because you speak the truth and you speak in bullet points, and I love it because that's a good amount and that's a good point to prove. But see, what I also want to talk about is the city council meeting that I attended last week.
Yeah, it was a shitstorm of epic proportion.
It was, literally. And what I want to talk about is why haven't the mayor, and I actually wrote a piece about this on Black Western on Facebook, about why, the city council president, Lisa Copeland, has not sent a letter to the governor, because already he's proven that he can't run the city. It's already been proven. And he's committed crimes as mayor, okay? Memorial Field is just a good example. So why hasn't a letter been sent to the governor saying, listen, my name is Lisa Copeland. I'm the president of Mount Vernon City Council. We have a mayor that's breaking into businesses. He's tearing down the business's property. He's not following the rules and regulations of the charter. We feel that he is not in the right position to be mayor. He's not the right person to be mayor. So why wasn't a letter or some sort of communication sent to the governor already to stop this? Because, mind you, everything that Richie has touched so far in Mount Vernon, he's going to court over. You know, the Memorial Field, the water, whatever. So that's my question. Why hasn't City Council done anything? Why haven't they put a tighter leash on him? Why did they let it get so big, so bad this way? That's something I really want to talk about, because this could have been stopped. It could have been prevented, AJ.
You know what? Let me ask you. Let me throw some water on that so it could grow, right? Having honest conversation when a lot of issues was first brought to the city council. There was some animosity there by those city council members that some are still on and some are gone. There were animosity. There was animosity because they felt like, why are you complaining about someone that you supported and you voted for?
Under false pretenses.
Yeah, right. Under false pretenses, and to the fact that, and I said it to the city council. I said, at the end of the day, right, it is their job to do what they're supposed to do as city council, and it's the mayor's job to do what he's supposed to do as a mayor. And no matter how each one of you elected officials got in office, you still have to be accountable to the people. So don't want to do something because the person that's making the complaint is the person that throughout the campaign was supporting the person they're making the complaint on.
Right.
I mean, it becomes petty BS,
and that's why I wrote what I wrote. Right?
It becomes petty BS, and Marcus Griffith was one of them. And I'm saying it's straight factual. So
Marcus is weak. It's already been proven.
Regardless of him being weak, but see, this is the problem because they refused to address the issues because they felt like they were teaching somebody a lesson, right? So in that action on waiting a year to address the issues, right? Only thing it did was damage the credibility of the city, damage the people, all the people of the city, because they felt that they was teaching people that voted for Richard Thomas, and then after his actions when he got in office was like, yo, this ain't right. Okay, now what are y'all gonna do about it? So we ain't gonna do nothing because you the one put him in office. That was the attitude.
And not only that, I keep saying, and I'm going to introduce our guests. I keep saying, we were told, and I know I specifically was told, we told you this was going to happen. So this should not catch you off guard. You understand? Because everyone said, AJ, I told you if you supported him and he got in there, this is what he was going to do. So you knew this. So you should not be surprised by his actions now.
Yeah, but here's the sad thing. Okay, now that you know that there's loopholes in the charter, right? He exposed every loophole you could find in the last 2 years, but nobody is talking about fixing them, right? Nobody's saying, all right, we got to revise the charter. We got to make sure if we subpoena an employee for possibly breaking the law, that they're able to come before us, right? So where is Marcus? Where is Andre? Where is the entire board on? When are you going to fix it? Because you sent out subpoenas, right? And the police department put the middle finger up, and there was no repercussions, right? So when are you going to go back in the charter and update the charter and say, look, if we have subpoena power, we got to have some teeth beyond the subpoena power. So if we subpoena someone to testify about an issue, if they don't show up, has to be some type of consequences to that, right? When are they going to update the charter on that? Like, there's things that they need to update the charter that they saw that there was holes in it, that they really didn't have the checks and balances like they thought they have, and they haven't did anything to that effect yet.
What do they do?
I want to.
What?
The city council.
Right now, they just argue about the budget.
What?
They do three things. They pass legislation. They are allowed under the city charter to hold hearings to investigate those areas of those actions that may not be in compliance with city law, and in addition to that, they allocate the budget. If the city council had wanted to, quite honestly, all they had to do was hold a special hearing, hold the hearing on the raised house, and get on record the refusal of the mayor's officers to answer. And that would have established a predicate for further action. They could have possibly filed an Article 78 in court. They could have referred the matter to a superior body. But because they failed to take the next step, they essentially squandered their powers. The city council has disarmed itself.
That's what I keep saying. That's what I keep saying.
That's
I
what
keep
I'm
saying.
hearing. That's what I'm asking.
They sucker punch
do?
Rich in the face. He got up. He hit him back. They said, "Oh shit, he hit us." Basically, I mean, I can't make it more plain. That's what happened. But I wanna introduce our guest. We have County Legislator Lyndon Williams, and I know you wanna.
Oh, former city council.
That's
right.
Right.
We got a former city
I want
council
to answer
president.
a question specifically before you talk about what you. As a taxpayer of Mount Vernon, as a former city councilman, as a lawyer, and as a county legislator, what is it? We were talking about the Richard Thomas, the mayor, has scared the hell out of the residents by telling them there's going to be a 236% tax increase. Your $15,000 home tax is going to be $45,000. Isn't there some kind of TEL or tax limitation like that? Like you can't even there's no legal way you can't raise that high. There's no way it can happen.
Yeah.
Well, I think that there are a couple of things just to step back. I was a councilman for 12 years and actually served for 3 terms as the president of city council. I served in just about every committee on the council. With respect to this issue on the sewer systems, right? You don't get hit with now $200 million unless you really are bad actors. And what I said is this. The county was sued under the same Clean Water Act by the APA. The Justice Department brought the lawsuit. The APA was the agency that actually the action was brought under. And I chaired the legislature's litigation committee. So any major litigation the county is involved with comes before my committee. And during the course of the discussions this is in the last administration, between the county attorney and the U.S. Justice Department, you had the potential of these fines also occurring.
Could be said, pull your mic up to you because people are saying they can't hear you.
Yes, you had. Can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better. Yeah.
Yeah, we had the potential for these same fines, $37,500, I believe, a day, plus there are other fines that actually kick in, to apply. But the county was going down a road of which they were going to be litigating this, against the Justice Department. Our committee said to the county attorney, we want you to sit down with the Justice Department and negotiate a settlement. And this was the basis of the settlement. The Justice Department was requiring through the APA that we build a project that was going to cost the county over $100 million to build, to take care of the water problem. And the county, through its internal studies and discussion, came up with an alternative that was going to cost, I think, about $37 million. So we wanted to take, obviously, to remedy the problem with the lower costs so the taxpayers don't bear the cost. But if we go to litigation and we lost, guess what happens?
Right.
We probably end up with the over $100 million deal. So we insisted and mandated that the county attorney have these discussions. These discussions were had, and we settled. We built the lower cost project. We got hit with a couple of penalties, and the penalties and fines, I then actually asked for those penalties and fines not go toward the general fund of the United States budget, but to go back into communities like Mount Vernon and others to help remediate other environmental issues. And that's the way that you deal with this. You don't get up and say and get into a internal destruction, self-destruction. You had a Republican administration. We were Democratic members of the Board of Legislators, but we understood that this resolution of this issue is on the taxpayers of County of Westchester. So we were not going to get into a situation where we're going to say it's your problem. We can't sit down and talk. We sat down. We ordered the county attorney to go and have these discussions, and it was my committee. I chaired that committee, litigation committee, and he did. And we were obviously kept informed as the discussions were going on, and we settled the matter. I think Mount Vernon, you need to have people leave their egos and all the hyperbole at the door and start really kind of, first of all, you got to do some reading and understanding what you're dealing with when you're dealing with situations like this. And they also have to look at what has been, Mount Vernon is not the only municipality that have old sewer systems. The sewer systems in Lower Westchester and probably a lot of, the majority of Lower Westchester have been constructed around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
They're all old. But how did the other municipalities remedy the situation?
Right.
They need to take some examples rather than you constantly hear this constant kind of fear tactic that's being played between the different branches of government and the residents of Mount Vernon, who they're really, I'm saying, putting at risk. Because if you have a large tax, it's not going to be one, it's going to be all of them responsible for the taxpayers getting hit. Not the city council alone. It'll be the mayor, the city council, and the comptroller will be responsible, because it takes all branches of government to come together for a rational solution, to sit down and put their egos outside just to get to a solution and work it out. The Justice Department, from what I understand, was not looking to sue Mount Vernon. Sometimes you ask for it, and that's what I think potentially happened in this situation. If you have, with these matters, what they norm, because we deal with these matters at the county. We deal with a lot of the DEC matters. They come through a lot of our litigation through our county attorney's office. If you have a schedule by which you have to meet certain deadlines, you cannot blow the schedule off, then come in and say, well, the other guys didn't work with me to get it done. That is not responsive. It's one government. The federal government does not care that the mayor and the city council are at loggerheads. Their concern is that Mount Vernon is a city, a municipality, like Yonkers is a municipality, like New Rochelle is a municipality, like White Plains is a municipality, and they deal with municipalities. They don't care about your internal fighting. It's not going to give anyone, the mayor is not going to give him more points because he says the council is fighting with him. No, neither will it give the council. It's kind of childish when you think about it, for them to be dealing with the federal government and internally, instead of working their differences out, they're more or less holding, I think, the city's taxpayers hostage to a dysfunctional process. I'm a taxpayer in Mount Vernon,
Right.
and I am appalled. I'm appalled that what I'm hearing, sitting as a taxpayer, is that we can't get along, so you're going to have to pay some large tax increase because we're not working together.
Lyndon, can I ask you a quick question? How would you characterize the mayor's request when he sat in the meeting with the various representatives from the EPA and the DEC to please pass an order, court order, to have certain positions funded?
Well, they can't pass an order for positions to be funded.
Right.
It's totally outside of what the jurisdiction of the EPA to pass some kind of. It's kind of silly to suggest that a federal agency is going to pass some legislation for a local city council and local mayor. That does not happen. You don't hear that anywhere in this county. I mean, think about it. Have you heard? I mean, these issues go on all over Westchester. Not only Westchester, Rockland,
United States.
Rockland. If you're Long Island, all of these counties.
Brenda, I just
You don't ever hear anybody saying that they go to the Justice Department and tell them that they must pass some kind of local law for the city council to fund. I mean, come on. And I am embarrassed. You know why I'm embarrassed? Because this is a, it's a minority community.
Absolutely.
It has minority leadership.
Exactly.
And what it really is sending a message that somehow or other we are incapable
Exactly.
of running a
Self-governance.
government, which is really, really I mean, we can go around and talk to kids and talk to them about about being great and really studying and getting good grades. But if we can't show by example that we are able to run a government, and not a big one,
Right,
a
right,
relatively
right,
small one.
right, right.
You know, there's a problem with that. You know, and look, let me tell you this. We have, Mount Vernon has great, I tell everybody that, because I'm at the county. All of this, every Monday morning, the question is, what next did Mount Vernon do?
Well, what the hell is going on in
What
my
are we in the papers about? And I always say to people, I said this, I said, you know something? I live in a city that has great residents. The people who live in Mount Vernon, they work hard like everybody else.
That's right.
They raise their families like everybody else. They want to live in a community that they can be proud of. The government, the individuals are the ones who actually, you need to blame or actually cast some aspersions on, not on the residents of my city, because they're hardworking like any other residents throughout this county, and they're deserving to be living in a place where they can be proud to leave and go home and go to work. And when somebody asks where you live, we're proud to say I live in Mount Vernon.
Absolutely.
But that's not what is happening today.
Exactly.
They're making it so
Exactly.
that people are ashamed of where they live. And that is a travesty more than anything else that I've seen since I've been involved.
I want to bring your
involved.
attention to something I'm putting on the screen now. And Brenda brought this to my attention. What I was asking you about what you're allowed to increase, because he's telling
Yeah.
people, it says, with some exception, the state property caps limits the amount of local government, and most school districts can increase property tax to a lower of 2% or the rate of inflation.
That's the tax cap.
But it can
The
be
tax cap.
overridden.
Overridden by
But
the
with a
local, yeah.
60% vote,
Right. In other words,
the
can't be
mayor
mandated.
can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
Yeah, but when I didn't kind of unpack the absurdity, because I figured I didn't want to unpack it, but
Please do.
you know what I mean?
Because I like to break it down because people really
Because
don't
when you
understand. They're
think about
scared.
it, there's a state cap that says you have to have, in other words, to go over the cap, to raise tax over the cap, you have to get the local legislature got to override it. That means that the city council will have to somehow override the 236%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just to talk about that really.
Wouldn't even
But-
increase it by 2.3%.
But they're going to have to override to get to that, right? To impose that kind of a tax. There's also what they call a constitutional limit under New York State law.
And that's what I was trying to get
Yes.
to. Yes.
That actually, if it goes over the constitutional limit, if you have a debt that goes on the constitutional limit, you're virtually in bankruptcy.
Exactly.
At which point, and this is
You know?
at
I
which
mean-
point, what would happen at that point?
Well, I mean, there are a lot of different things. There's state has, like, they can put, like, you have Yonkers at one point. We're under a control board. Yes, a control board, basically. In other words, where they can actually say, okay, we're going to override these powers and actually have a board decide how you're going to spend your money, because you're not responsible, to be left to your own devices. That could happen. They can be, there are a lot of other legal proceedings that actually can be undertaken, but I think the most practical one would be something like a control board. If you were to get to that, I don't even want to. I don't want to even think that you can get to that kind of.
We don't want to
in Mount
consider.
Vernon, you know what I mean?
Right.
To
'Cause it's
really
the-
think that is something that this city would potentially get to, not because of some expenditures that were like normally this happens. Let's say you have some kind of disaster,
Right.
and it's blow your budget really out the window,
Well,
or
we do-
something that is unforeseen.
Yeah, we
what
do
you
have
have-
a disaster and something unforeseen. It's called City Hall.
I know, but most of it
Spezio.
has never been based on kind of neglect and irresponsibility by the local officials that caused this to happen. And when I say cause this to happen, I don't think to say that you're gonna have $236 million. It means that you're going to violate.
236%.
Yeah, well, okay,
Yeah, no, like-
236%. If we were to convert that to dollars, it's a lot of money. Okay, it's millions.
Yeah.
Which means that you are going to, or you plan to, this calculation you've done, you have planned to violate these daily penalties for a substantial amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way you're going to get this, is that if you did absolutely nothing, and you say, well, I'm not going to do anything, I'm just going to sit back. and let the penalties run and run and run until it builds up to some crazy number. I mean, if someone to do that, what is the responsibility of that person who decides that they're going to sit back and have the city goes into run these penalties up?
Right.
I mean, to throw that out there without an explanation of what you're talking about is really ridiculous.
Well, and the reason I really wanted to bring it up is because people at homeowners were at Wednesday's council meeting, and they were yelling at the council, I do not want my taxes to go up 200%.
Exactly.
Like, they were literally believing that was a I do not want my 15,000 whatever homeowners to go up to 45,000, because that's the number they're being told.
The council needs to have, look,
hold on, hold on. Go ahead.
When I was on the council, we had felt several issues that come up. The council needs to have a relationship with the residents independently.
And that's
they
what's
need to
missing.
have, I mean, instead of sitting in the chamber and having these meetings, they need to take these meetings out to the communities.
Exactly.
Out of the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
And they need to explain to the neighborhood, to the people in the city, what it is that they're doing. That's what we did. Myself, Ruth Thompson was on the council, Bill Randolph. We had Judge Colleen Duffy at one point. We had Steve Horton, Loretta Hogg. Most of the times when we had big issues, we took them to the residents. We had meetings in all of these little homes. We would have, it was like having the council on your corner. You know what I mean? We would go, we didn't keep it all in the chamber. We had a point where a big pipeline was coming through the town.
Yes.
And I was the president at the
Yeah.
same time.
Yes.
And we generated so much opposition to it because we actually decided to talk to the people, let them know what was coming, what was the problem, why they needed to be involved. It's the same thing with their sewer system. The council needs to actually communicate directly to their
To the
constituents.
people, yeah.
And
You know,
the bad thing about that, the
you know.
mayor is making that offer. Like, you know, like you have cottage parties.
Yeah.
So when you're running, he's
Yeah.
putting that out now.
Yeah.
Invite them, ask the mayor, invite me, and we will come to your home and explain it to you.
Right.
And,
Well,
but
I
it's
think
with the, you know what I'm saying?
The
And
council can do that. I did that. I used to do that, and I still do it. What I do differently is that I walk. You know, whether I'm running or not, I stop and knock on people's doors in different neighborhoods, and I ask, "How you doing? I'm your legislator." I used to ask them, "I'm your councilman," and I tell. I mean, sometimes you don't want to bombard people, but you tell them about one or two issues that are important, or you ask what their concerns are, you know, and try to resolve that. But I think that is something that the council needs to have.
Call a
that
please
doesn't
hold.
cost a lot of money.
Exactly.
It just costs some work.
Right.
I want,
Yeah.
and I want to say,
Yeah.
and I want to say, I give you credit because you have run on without an opponent, and you have done that.
Yeah.
In the last few elections, you've actually knocked on doors and talked to the
Yes,
people,
exactly.
and you had
Exactly.
nobody running against you.
Right. Whether somebody's running against me or not, I decided that I represent people.
I want to raise an
That's what I
issue.
do.
And I got another caller, but go ahead.
Yeah.
I just want to interject for a moment because it's important for us to know while this worst case scenario is unlikely and can be forestalled if the city takes appropriate action. Should it happen, what that would mean is that the city would cede an incredible amount of power in terms of its ability to self-govern. We have a number of instances across the United States where municipalities that have fallen into insolvency have been placed under the control of various boards. The most glaring example
Detroit.
is Detroit.
Right. Right.
And another example that should serve as a cautionary sign for all of us is what is going on in Puerto Rico right now. In both instances, when a municipality is placed under a control board, what tends to happen is they adopt very draconian policies
austerity, yeah.
that austerity policies that are going to lead to a massive slashing in the social services that people depend on, and it could actually put us into a harmful cycle, a vicious cycle. And the reason that this is important, that will hurt the middle class property owners, but could actually is often seen to be as part of a deliberate strategy on the part of more well-to-do property owners who would benefit from having the budget, the government budget slashed. It's going to eventually bring the taxes down when it's all said and done, and could lead to a fire sale on property. The reason why I mention this is because Joe Spezio owns a considerable amount of property in the city of Mount Vernon. We know he has a few properties, but there are so many LLCs that are deliberately used to conceal ownership. I've looked at the ownership patterns. In the south side of Mount Vernon, there is only the ownership rate of people who own their houses is like about 25%. 75% of those houses on the south side are not actually owned by city residents. And it's long been rumored that one of the desires of property interests in the city of Mount Vernon is to gentrify the area, and there's no better way to do that than to get the city into insolvency first. And I'm starting to believe that Mayor Thomas, because of all of the actions that he has taken, that continues to pile up the city's bill unnecessarily, is dead set on this because that's what Joe wants. That is why Joe Spezio does not need to be a executive officer of the city. He has immense conflicts of interest, and this is just another one of them.
We want to get to the caller. Caller, you're on People Before Politics. Please state your name and purpose for calling and make your comment or question brief. Hello?
Yes. Yeah, AJ.
No,
It's Atif. So
no,
I got
no,
a
wait.
question for,
There was another caller. Caller, please state your purpose for calling. And are you still there? Okay, he hung up. Or he or she hung up.
All right.
Go ahead and make your question brief.
question.
Go ahead.
So here, I'm gonna make it brief, but this is for County Legislator Linda Williams. So thank you for clearing all of that up regarding the tax rate and the increase and the cap and stuff. But my question to you is, and I hate to put you on the spot,
That's fine.
County Legislator, but have you spoken to the mayor? Did you tell him what you just told us? And if you did, what was his reaction?
Well, I haven't. I have not spoken to the mayor on this topic. Basically, I have when the mayor was elected, like all the mayors that have been in place when I was a county legislator, I've reached out. I've offered my assistance and advice, and I kept an open door, an open line to him. I haven't received any calls from him for any kind of suggestions, but it's all he knows that my phone is always open. I'm always ready to bring county resources to help Mount Vernon, because that's who I'm committed to, the resident. But to answer your question, I have not had any discussions with the mayor.
I kind of expected it, and I just got to add this, AJ, real quick. My other question is that is there anything the county, because right now we have the mayor spilling out false information. You just kind of pretty much cleared that up. This 236% increase is not a reality. What can the county, what else, can somebody do something to stop him from printing paper with this false information?
I mean, unfortunately, it's not. I don't want to.
Is there a law?
It's not
Something?
there. No, there is no law that actually can stop people from printing or saying things that are inaccurate. I think what you have is
And you're too
through
kind.
the First Amendment.
Provably false.
But let me
Yeah.
get to the next point. You have what's under our First Amendment, the other side, to actually get a message out, meaning the persons who are in the city council, like I said now, they have an obligation that if there is an inaccuracy out there, they have an obligation to totally notify the Mount Vernon residents about it. They need to educate the residents about it. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. I can only say what I'm going to do. I'm going to find out some more about where they are, because I'm interested in it, in the issue. And I will make some suggestions, and I will go out publicly and let people know
Please.
that these are the suggestions I'm making, and these are the things, and I'm going to talk on the topic, because
Can you have a town hall meeting and educate us, letting us know what the real deal is?
I'll do that. I will make sure I have a town hall meeting, but I wanna make sure so you to understand
Sorry,
this.
sir.
Wait, hold up. Caller, please call back. I didn't get to answer you. in
I
time.
am not, and I try hard not to get in the middle of
City business.
Right.
the city business
Exactly.
and the back and forth, because that's not my role. I try to help. That's what I do from the county perspective, to bring resources to help the city. And why I do that is not for the politicians, is to help city residents, my
Absolutely.
constituents. That's who my focus has been.
Now
And this issue affects my constituents, and I'm going to actually, I happen to know a lot, because at the county level I've worked on this, and I've chaired a committee that had to go through a lot of this stuff dealing with the EPA, and so I have the knowledge that I can speak to, and so some of this I will actually kind of make some suggestions to the city about how I believe they should go about it, just as we did with the county attorney. It's up to them to take the suggestions or not. If they don't, or whether they do or not, I'll let residents know that I did make the suggestion, so that people will know that if you get some kind of 236% tax increase, you've got blame. There were folks who actually blame for it.
Right. Now I want to.
And I know that's not going to happen. So it's
Right.
going to be a part of.
Now I want to for time restraints, and you did come
Yes.
here for a reason.
Yes.
But I have one more question, and so we have to move off this topic.
Yes.
The Department of
Well, there's two.
well, here's the letter right here. So the Board of Acquisitions and Contracts
Right.
just moved to remove RNS from the county carding contracts and made an emergency contract with city carding. Can you speak a little bit to that? Do you know about that? The
No,
documents
yeah.
on the thing.
Yeah, the document I know because we actually get the documents, all the documents that go through the Acquisition and Contracts Board. But that board is made up of the county executive, the chairman of the Board of Legislators, and the county budget director. We know of what has occurred basically in terms of the removal, but I can't speak as to the why and all that because that's something that
No, not
Okay,
the why,
no.
but can you speak to the removal? What does that mean? What is to?
Oh, well, the removal off the list would mean that in terms of the awarding of contracts, I mean, that's what generally you're on a list to be able to get contracts
Now
in the
that
county. Is that's what
Right.
you're talking about?
Yes.
so that
You
so that
I mean, it might have been a situation where that they were fulfilling an unexpired contract. I don't have the details on it, but-
What I do know and what
Yeah.
has been told so far. So, the Department of Labor found RNS and
okay.
them guilty, and they owe $4 million something dollars, and they had somewhat near 30 days to pay it, and by not paying it because of the wording in the contract with the county, they breached their contract
Okay.
and was able to be removed.
Right. Okay.
That's-
but
that's-
but
that's-
that definitely happens in that in the county contract there is a compliance provision, meaning that you've got to be in compliance with not only the county law, but like the state law, labor laws, and things of that nature. So if you have a contractor that either has not fall out of compliance, then the county can move to terminate the contract.
Right.
So that's a part of the essential provisions
Now,
of the contract.
now when you have a county contract,
Yeah.
is that for all the departments or that's just for specific departments?
That's specific departments generally. I mean, if you like, for instance, if you have a county contract to do construction, you're
Right.
probably going to Department of Public Works.
Right.
If you do something with parks, you're going to go to Department of Parks.
So,
Basically.
all right. So if
But
he
all
had,
of these contracts get approved by the Board of Acquisition and Contract.
right. So if
Yeah.
they pull one contract, right. So like, I know he has a contract with the county jail.
Mm-hmm.
He has a county contract. So does that get dismissed or that's still active? And this is just one. This is just
Well,
one specific.
it
contract?
depends upon the nature. If, as AJ said, there was a violation, the terms of the contracts are in all our contracts. In other words,
Right.
compliance terms
Right.
are in just about all. No matter which contract you have with the county, you've
Right.
got to meet these terms.
Right.
If you violate one of the terms of the contract sufficient enough for them to determine that you're not in compliance with one contract,
Right.
it is likely that the same would apply to other contracts that have
Okay.
a similar term.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Before we get into, I really want to get into the whole Christopher Ridley, but just one more thing because we got people that are listening. The whole issue with Memorial Field and the reporting of low HUD that the county might sue Mount Vernon.
Yeah. I
Can you just
Yeah,
you
I mean,
speak on it?
I can tell you that it's going to be a lawsuit brought by the county.
Okay.
It's probably going to be approved by the county board of legislators tomorrow night. The law, and I regret that this has to come to this, but
Right.
it has to come to that because the county is not willing to walk away from Mount Vernon residents.
Mhm.
There are two choices the county has. This project is being funded by Westchester County. Majority of money going into Memorial Fields, Westchester County. The city breached the agreement with the county. They substantially breached the agreement. The county offered the mayor and the city council, on my suggestion as a legislator, that the county would finish the project. In other words, the county would come in, complete the project, complete it, and turn it back over to the city to operate. Now, to most people, that is a very reasonable that's a very reasonable kind of proposal, given that the person, first of all, is putting the money up.
Right.
And secondly, they can say, you breached the contract, I'm walking away, you're not getting more money, stay with the polluted and contaminated field. But Mount Vernon City Council passed a resolution saying that they agree with going forward for the county to assist, to actually take over the project and get it done and turn back over to Mount Vernon. The mayor sent a letter to us, and that letter is in the public record. It talks mainly about the need for an investigation into the persons who dumped on the field.
Yes, I saw that document.
Okay. Now, that might be. I'm not going to dispute that is a legitimate concern, but it's not responsive to the request. The request is for the county to come in. No one is saying that none of us abide what was done there. I was probably the loudest of anyone with respect to the dumping of Memorial Field, because I have letters that I've sent to EPA, to the DEC, to all of the enforcement agencies. I've made a public statement that needs to be investigated, and whoever's responsible needs to be prosecuted, because it's in my district, it's in my city, and I will not abide someone dumping illegal and contaminated dirt. But that's not the point. We have to now move forward also. We cannot just keep shouting from the rooftop, this is what happened. We've got to move forward. The county's proposal is for us to move forward. And it's not coming in, taking over the project and leaving the city out. The proposal was for the city and the county to work cooperatively to get this done. But the county would take the lead, because someone has to take the lead. The county would take the lead. The county has engineers, they have architects, they've done projects throughout this county. They have people who actually with the knowledge. That would save the city money in terms of going out to getting folks who can manage things. You would think that they would jump at this.
But it would cost your the financial forces to whom you're beholden political patronage, because those are patronage opportunities.
Well,
that
there's not
many
going to be any patronage
administrations
when the
do.
county. I can
Right.
tell you
Right,
one thing,
when
there
the
will be
county
no
does
patronage
it.
if the county does it.
Right.
But if the
So-
city retains it,
Right.
what that would mean is that it would allow the administration to have a substantial say in what companies receive those contracts.
Right.
And if we are to follow the axiom that says follow the money, it's very clear why the mayor continues to resist a generous offer from the county to get this matter resolved and move forward, because he actually might get credit for it. if he
Well,
had any
the
damn
whole
sense.
thing about credit comes up, and I say this, look, and I say this very seriously. I don't care. who
Right.
gets the credit.
Right.
Take the credit.
Right.
If the mayor wants the credit, we do the field, give it back to him, stand on the rooftop and says, I did it.
Right.
I will say, fine. None of us actually want, but Mount Vernon residents deserve to have that field done.
Exactly.
It's been years. The county executive said that very clearly. He says, I am committed to making sure that this is done for Mount Vernon residents who have sat and watched this for over 10 years. And that is something that I would think that the mayor and the city council would have jumped on and say, this is a great opportunity. They're putting up the money. They're now bringing more resources, technical assistance to us.
Exactly.
We can take the credit if we like, because they don't care about credit. What is it? I don't understand logically why there is resistance.
Well, he explained that just now, but I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Because the city council passed a resolution, is there anything that the mayor can do to prevent y'all from taking it over?
Well, I think that's what's going to be the
lawsuit.
about, because the county is not going to, because the mayor says, well, I'm not going to respond in a way that and I want to say this. He hasn't said no. So there's still a window of opportunity opens. Right?
That's good to know.
He hasn't said no, but he has gone on a track that says that I want to have these investigations. Look, I want to have the investigations done.
He's also told people that y'all are trying to take it over, and then Mount Vernon residents won't be allowed in, or we'll have to pay the county and
well,
to
you know,
use
that
it
is
and stuff like that.
if that was said, that's an outright lie. An outright lie, because the county is not taking over ownership of the field. What they're going to do is complete the field and give it back to Mount Vernon. If they want to sign an agreement like that, I'll be glad to draft it.
It's a
so that
municipal
it's clear.
agency agreement.
And I got
you
a
know.
quote directly from the county exec saying just that. His exact words is, "We're going to fix it, and we're going to hand the keys back over to Mount Vernon." That was his exact quote.
That is exactly what, and it's not, I mean, instead of going around spreading not an outright lies, if it's a legitimate concern, let's sign a contract saying that. If it's a legitimate concern that you have, let's sign a contract. And I'll be glad to actually be part of drafting it and being a part of making sure that it's airtight, that it cannot be taken by, it can't be taken by the county. It's so foolish to say that it can be taken by. Ownership does not happen by somebody coming in and saying I own. It happens through a transfer of ownership.
Well, you know,
Who's
this
gonna
country
transfer
was built on that.
Yeah.
You know, they discovered something that was already here. Like I
Yeah.
came in your house and discovered your TV. Now I own it. It's my TV.
Yeah, right.
You know, so-
Well, let me tell you that. I mean, it's very frustrating, and I hope Mount Vernon residents understand that this is the defining moment for this city.
Absolutely.
For Memorial Field, because if the county money is not there, the state money is not there, and are they going to go and put this on the back of the taxpayers now to say, because that's really the reality. If you're saying, I don't want the county to come in and repair the stadium and give it back to us, the county is not going to give you the money to do it. It's not. Why are they going to do that?
No, it's going to be
After giving $3.4 million and actually nothing to show for it, why would they? Would you do that if it was your money?
No.
No one would do that. It's
And
not
that,
reality.
and that was
You know?
and Astorino was clear on that.
Yeah.
He said that Ernie Davis in the city had to show him, like,
Yeah.
whatever their plan was, there was another $5 million needed.
Right.
Show me where you're going to get that $5 million
that $5
before
million, yeah.
we even write the check. Like we're not putting
Right.
money in and you can't even finish it.
Right, and so there's a reality here that people need to understand that, and it goes to decision making, because if you cannot make decisions that to most of the general public appears to be very simple, what about the more difficult decisions that need to be made about this town? And I thought that this, when I proposed this, I said, "Oh, this is
It's a no-brainer.
No-brainer, right?
This is a no-brainer." You know what I mean? I never thought we would be debating. And I mean, I speak to other people in the county. Look at me like it's hard to believe that you guys are debating.
Like for the residents,
whether somebody can come in and help you.
for the residents, that's like your house being in foreclosure.
Right.
And someone with money is like, "Oh, let me take over all of this debt for you and then hand you back your keys."
Geez, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So they
saying
take
no.
you out of debt and you say no.
No, give me the money and I can do what I want
No,
with it.
but
But I just want to put it in terms
Right,
of
but
a
that just
homeowner
makes,
could make
that
it.
just makes, as black people, man, that makes, you
Yeah.
know, our counterparts look at us like with the rock eyebrow,
Right.
like really, like what the hell is wrong
Right,
with
Yeah.
with y'all in Mount Vernon,
Yep.
right.
you know, and because that's something that anyone will take.
Yeah,
And like you said, it was a no-brainer
Yeah.
to take it off because you're getting the park
right.
done.
Yeah.
You're getting
Right
the
now
park
you're
done.
sitting on a contaminated field
Exactly.
that has a bunch of dirt and nothing going on.
And
You're
rocks.
moving
Right.
rocks from one place to another.
Right,
But that is
right,
not a development. You know what I mean? Here is a chance to get it done. I would say, you know, step up.
You put up the wall of fame.
You know,
yeah,
know,
but that's
and-
just to
but-
cover the rocks.
and the
Yeah,
thing
it's just
about it
in
that
case-
says, look, you know, I mean, I know the politics play into it. And
Absolutely.
If you want, and look, for me, I don't care about the credit. I don't care. I mean, I don't.
You know,
take the
and you know,
credit.
but you
know
know,
what I mean?
but you know
But let's
what?
get it
But you
done.
know the sad thing though.
know?
The
Yeah.
sad thing is, if the city accepts that,
Yeah.
and this is real talk, the city
Right.
accepts that, and it gets done, Mayor Thomas will get credit for doing
Yes.
what the other two mayors said that they were going to do.
Right, exactly.
Reopen the park. Whether he had a dime put into
Exactly,
it or
yeah.
any action, and it would almost assure that he would be reelected because of that one thing.
Well,
Seriously, even with everything he's done.
no,
Well, the
no,
other
don't
thing-
don't
I don't
go
think
too
that-
far
whoa,
with that.
whoa, whoa,
Hey,
whoa,
don't
whoa.
go too
The
far.
other
now.
thing, the other
Yeah,
thing I
he's
believe,
getting
the other
real
thing I
crazy on
believe
that one.
happens is that look.
I'm talking about the voters. The
sometimes-
voters will believe
No.
that shit.
Sometimes,
Absolutely.
Listen, there's a long way to go still, though, brother.
Yeah.
let me just say this. Sometimes there are opportunities
Right.
to really bring some unity to a process. And you don't have many plans that right now on the table that could have. But this
Exactly.
could have.
Right.
When you think about it, all of the disputes that are going on between the mayor and the controller and all that, perhaps if you come together on one thing.
And see,
You
that's
can
what I
work
said.
on that.
Instead
But
of talking
that's
about what
you know what I mean?
don't have, let's talk
You
about
know-
what we do have. Let's talk
And
about
what I'm
the
talking
common-
about, you come
Create
together on a
goodwill.
no-brainer.
Right. Right.
So, and you work that out, maybe you can have a dialogue on other
Right.
things that you have going on.
I want to get to
I
the,
just don't see where
Right.
where
Well,
this is.
I want to get to the
they're-
next
they're
topic, but there's a
waiting-
question that is
Oh,
on
you
the
got a
table.
question?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean.
Has Lyndon thought of running for mayor? And I know that has come up before, so I just
Yeah.
want because that has come up. That's on.
Look, a lot of people. I can't walk anywhere in this town.
I've been
before
with you in the
people-
last election,
yeah,
and people
have been
have asked
asking
you
me
that.
that. Not only now, last election,
I
many
know, yeah.
elections. I didn't get into politics to really get a title. That's not what my. I didn't. I'm not looking for a title. You know, some people want to get mayor to say I want to be the mayor of the town. To me, it's not a promotion. I don't see being in that office as a promotion. And so I'm not. I told people I'm not gonna tell you that I'm gonna be running for mayor because I don't know if the decision is something that I want to do. You know, I mean, I know one thing. I know that I want to see Mount Vernon better.
Exactly.
I know that's what I want to do. I want to make sure that Mount Vernon is on a better road to success. And whatever it takes to do that, I will. Well, I will do it. But right now, I don't have any. It's not something that I'm sitting there planning out. You know, I'm going to run for mayor. But if I decide to do that, I'll make a decision. I'll do it. That's the way I operate,
lastly, the reason
you know.
I asked because one of the quickest things in Mount Vernon is he's only doing these things because he wants the job. He's only saying these things,
Yeah.
not dismissing all the facts that you gave,
Yeah.
but saying that you're only saying.
Well,
it.
I've been saying this. I've been fighting to get Memorial Field done from the time I became a county legislator. One of the first acts that I did as a county legislator was to get the approval of the plans for or the money for Memorial Field. It's not like I started. Yes, if anybody says, "Well, he's doing this," they have not been reading.
Well, I've been following you since since
because,
2014,
I've been
and I know how
and
active
I
you've
got
been.
into arguments with all of the mayors when I believe that they weren't actually focusing on getting the project done. So I'm not, you know, if I want to run for mayor, I don't need a project. I don't need to be saying anything. I've been in office. I have a record, and it speaks for itself. If I want to just come out and say, "Look, I'm going to do this. Here is my record."
No.
You decide, one way or another. I'm fine with it. You
Right.
know, that's the way that I look at it. Because if I decide to do that, it would not be for my own, you know, someone or other going to escalate me or give me a big head. Because that's not.
Right.
I don't have that kind of ego. That's not me. You know, I don't need a title.
Well, as we
Yeah.
said before, often
Yeah.
this conversation can go on forever,
Yeah.
and there is a reason that you came here.
Yes.
So I would like to talk about that. Give that some
Yes.
time. And
Yes.
real briefly, wait, real briefly, for those who don't know, because there are people that don't know, who is Christopher Ridley? Before
Yes.
explain who he is first.
Let me tell you, and I know Damon has
Yeah.
got a lot saying, but let me tell you, Christopher Ridley is a hero.
Exactly.
But let me tell you, he was a 23-year-old Mount Vernon police officer who, on January 25th, 2008, was in White Plains in plain clothes, running around. You know, he was off duty, basically. And in the midst of that, witnessed a gentleman and two gentlemen in an altercation physically, and one of them about to really get seriously injured if he had not. He stepped in to try to break it up. This is a condensed version of it.
Mm-hmm.
Stepped in to try to break it up. Got into a struggle with one of the guy who was really pummeling the other guy, and I think his service revolver dislodged, basically, and so there was a struggle to get a hold of the gun because the other guy was trying to, you know, to get to it. And during that time, when that all going on in split seconds, 3 4 Westchester County cops. I think the 3 of them came out first, and then another one came out. And basically,
It was around Martine.
no,
It was some
4.
came out of the county building, the other
And,
one came
from
out.
the other building, but
It was 4.
yeah, 4 came
Right.
out basically. And in the midst of, by the time they got out, Christopher had gotten a hold of the gun, and they said that they gave an order to drop it, and they did not know who it was that was holding the gun, and they shot him.
And killed
They
him.
killed him right there. It's been a very, very painful thing in this county because here's a guy.
And he was a Mount Vernon police officer.
Yes, yes.
so-
He was promoted to detective.
His
after-
family lives next door to my sister,
Yes.
actually.
And I know his dad very well. Stan and I are good friends. But here is a young man who could have watched that and walk away, and he would be
Exactly.
alive today. He could have
Exactly.
said the other guy might have been murdered or seriously injured. But
So
he could
that's,
have walked
it's not my
away.
city. It's not my problem.
Yeah, it's not my problem.
No.
I'm off duty, but he tried to help, and he lost his life. And at the time when this happened, it was so painful. Andy Spano was the county executive at the time, and he was leaving office, getting ready to leave office. And the county had installed, we at the Board of Legislators, I proposed legislation immediately during that time frame to dedicate the plaza. There's a plaza where this happened in front of 85 Court Street as Christopher Ridley Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
And we were supposed to build some kind of memorial to memorialize him. Andy Spano had a sign put down to mark Christopher Ridley Plaza. But it never really came to fruition because you need to have a county, the county, my legislation was proposed, but it never really got the kind of traction to really get it done. But now we did.
So there was
No, we
there was
did.
just a temporary one there.
That was a temporary sign. We're
right.
going to have a permanent sign. I had placed money in the capital budget a few years ago for this, and so the Board of Legislators will vote tomorrow night to allocate those funds and to get this done. The type of memorial would be dependent upon what his family would like to see, but the county will erect a permanent memorial for him. That is a story that everyone needs to know.
Yes,
Exactly.
And
that's-
everyone need to remember because, we had a lot of, the press called me and asked me about controversy. I said, look, we're past controversy. This was a hero, a true hero, and we all need to recognize it, and we need to memorialize him in a suitable way. And that's what we're going to do on Monday night by approving the funding. And the next thing we will do is have the construction of the proper memorial, and then we'll have a ceremony to ribbon. All you guys gonna be there. I know you.
I'm gonna be there.
To really kind of to really memorialize this young man, who I keep saying was a true hero in my mind and should be a hero in everybody's mind. in this county.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I don't know what the press was talking about, any type of controversy. When an officer off duty decides to run to danger, right? He could have just simply
He could have done like so many police officers have done in response to public emergencies. Although they're very serious,
Right.
it could have been like those sheriffs who did not respond.
Right.
You know?
But he responded.
Right.
And
he
it was
responded.
and it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
And there's we could point fingers.
Right.
But if everybody did everything right, he would be here today. So it's not the fact, but we also understand that those county cops, we all knew Robert Martin. He was beloved. And I didn't know the other 3, but we knew Robert Martin. And their lives are never the same
never the same, right.
either. And I think, from that, we have made strides to recognize implicit bias, to recognize the need for better training officers off duty and in plain clothes, and how to interact with uniformed officers when you are carrying a firearm and what to do.
Right.
And I commend the Lattimore administration for moving forward
Right.
and looking at issues right now. We are still meeting with the Lattimore administration to address implicit bias in policing practices and policies. So I think this is great, around the whole spectrum of what the Lattimore administration and the county legislators are doing now. Now that the Democrats have control, they're making some real positive changing in policing and recognizing Christopher Ridley, who unfortunately was made to look as the criminal, as the buffoon, as the officer that didn't know what he was doing, and we know that wasn't true.
Right, exactly.
We know it wasn't true. So tomorrow is, I'm not going to miss it for the world.
Right.
Because tomorrow is a day we get to watch the county vote on something so we can correct and also address, New York has a history. Since 1940, 29 black cops have been
Right.
shot at, or killed by their white counterparts. And it has never happened in the reverse, right? It has never, a white uniform, a white officer in
Right.
plain clothes or off duty has never been mistakenly shot by a black officer in uniform. It's never happened.
And one of those cases wasn't the officers were his backup. Didn't he call for backup?
Yeah,
and his backup killed him.
That was a guy.
Yeah.
No, his backup shot him.
Shot him. Oh,
They
he
didn't
shot
kill
him.
him. They shot him, and he settled for about $6 million with New York City 12 years later. But the fact that the police on police shooting task force under Governor Patterson, I think that was the only thing he did when he was governor. It was the police on police shooting task force, right? That's the only that we could call on. The final note in the report was that bias plays a role in an officer's decision, racial bias to shoot or not shoot a subject. So we still have a lot of work to do, man, and this will recognize Christopher Ridley as a hero, and also recognize we still have a lot of work to do.
Right.
And that's great.
So I'm asking people to come out to really show their support for him. I think a presence in the chamber of a substantial number of people
Yes.
And
will really send a good message that, this guy is a true hero. We really are doing this. And I don't know if it's been done anywhere else in the state. I don't think it has
I don't
been,
think it has neither.
but it's important in Westchester County that we stand up and recognize him for what he has done on that sad day. I know his dad is going to be there.
Yes, he texted me already.
Yeah.
He already
Yeah.
told him I'll be there. He
Yeah.
texted me, and that,
Yeah.
and that's a beautiful thing, man. We just got to continue to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some bumps in the road under the
Right.
Asperino administration.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very.
But you know what? I think when we had bumps, but now, sometimes you get to the top of the, some of you struggle with those bumps and you get to the top, right?
Yeah.
And I think we're there now, at least with respect to him.
Exactly.
Lyndon,
Yes.
can you tell the audience members exactly when
Yes.
and where?
Okay, tomorrow night, the meeting starts at 7. The voting is not going to happen right away. But what I will do is try to get it advanced on the agenda so you guys don't have to sit through all of the other
Right,
items
yeah,
that we have to deal with. But it starts at 7, right, the meeting. It's going to be at the county office building, 148 Martine Avenue on the 8th floor, the Westchester County Board of Legislators. That's where it's going to be. So come on out. It's not going to take a lot of your time, but for what this young man has shown us in terms of courage and in terms of being a hero, you can spend some of your time to show support
Exactly.
for him.
Absolutely.
Everybody should be there, but especially
Yes.
black people, and especially
Yeah.
Mount Vernon people.
Yeah.
I mean, he was one of
Yeah.
us, so he,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Especially.
Yeah, and I would think, I I haven't heard back from, but I would think that, I know the city has a lot of, they got all this controversy going, but maybe sometimes, you got to take a break from your controversy.
Right.
And pay some attention to things that are important.
Exactly.
And I hope they do, with respect to Christopher Ridley.
Not just for a photo op,
Yeah,
neither.
not for a photo op. No,
No,
because
not
this is
for
not
a
about a
photo.
photo op.
Exactly.
This is
Right, because to
about-
show up and take a
This
picture with
is
his
about
pops
him.
and then go
Exactly.
back to, yeah.
This is about him.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is there anything, while we got a few minutes, because I know is anything else going on in the county? Because they have a majority Democrat board and have a Democrat county exec. Is anything any other project or any other?
There are a lot of things going on, but let me tell you what. One of the biggest things we're facing is the budget, as you know.
Yeah, exactly.
We were left with a big bounce check from the last administration, and George Latimer
The
has
party of fiscal responsibility.
fiscal responsibility.
Right.
Put everything on the credit card, and here's the credit card bill.
Exactly.
And we walked in.
That you're responsible for.
Yes. So we're working through that. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be very difficult the next couple of years because, everybody wants, what happens with Republican administrations is they ran up the bill and then they take off.
Mm-hmm.
A Democrat get in, they said, he better not raise taxes because
Exactly.
I didn't.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
And so what happened, you got in this catch-22 that you look like you're raising taxes on people while you're paying off the other guy's credit card bill that he ran up. So that's going to be a challenge. I think George wants to be able to, the county executive wants to be able to find ways to kind of deal with the deficit and kind of see if we can work this through. We got to look at all the revenue sources. We're looking for help from the state to try to work through some things with legislation with the state. And the good thing is we have a good relationship with the state of New York. So that's going to help. And that's one thing Mount Vernon needs to do.
Yes,
They
yes.
need to have
relationships.
good relationships intergovernmentally.
Exactly.
Right.
If you look at the cities around us, it's doing great. New Rochelle, Yonkers,
Yonkers.
White Plains. They have good relationships. They're working with their electeds. They don't all have to agree every
Right.
time.
But,
Exactly.
but even
But
on the
they
other
have
side, the Bronx, that area of the Bronx
yeah,
is really,
they're
it's not
working
Westchester,
in
but
good
yeah.
relate. So we're in the middle of somewhat of a renaissance going along around us, basically.
That's just missing
we're-
us.
And just
This is-
missing us
yeah.
because we're in the
Exactly.
middle of this constant controversies about, well, you didn't do this, you're causing the taxpayers this, and all of this information, which does not really matter when you kind of net it out. Then when you net it out is when you leave that office. Are people's lives going to be better or going to be
Right.
worse?
See, and
At
that's
the
what
end of the day.
You know what? I'm always coming up with a question. And now that the Janus decision
Yeah.
has came out, is the county like preparing? What like are they? Because I had talked to Ken and he was like, really, we don't know. We might have 3-4 unions in one department. Like nobody really knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I spoke to one of the union leaders and I asked them how much does this impact you guys? Simply because you got to think about Janus' decision is a guy saying, "Look, I don't want to be a part of the union. I don't want to be paying union dues,
Right.
but I want the benefits that the union negotiate for."
Right.
Basically, so what happens is that
quick. We were talking about Andy Spano, right? The not Mike Spano. We
Andy,
were talking
right,
about
yeah, Andy.
Because somebody was like, "Aren't we still under Mike Spano's watch?" No.
no.
we're
We're
talking
not
not
talking
talking
about-
about
we talking about
Mike
the county.
Spano was never the county
Right, no.
executive.
So
Right.
Andy Spano,
Andy Spano was
county
the county
executive,
executive.
not
Right,
Mike
yeah.
Spano, Yonkers mayor.
Right.
Just since somebody was confused.
Right. Okay. Now, yeah. So the Janus decision, basically, a Supreme Court decision saying that, in essence, that unions can't demand that an employee pay union dues, even though he's getting represented by the unions. But they didn't pass a law that says he doesn't have to get the benefits if he doesn't want to pay the dues.
Exactly.
You know, and that is somewhat unfair because the people who are in the union paying the dues, they're negotiating for everyone. You're getting the benefits that you don't want to pay in. And so I don't know how many unions in Westchester have that situation in terms of their membership, where you have a large part of your membership saying, "I don't want to pay dues," and whether or not it's gonna. The question is not that. The question is whether or not it's gonna become part of the, everybody's like new thing that. I don't want to pay.
Well, some might.
And they still get represented?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and they still
Wow.
get represented. But
Yeah.
there's some. I have an issue if you pay union dues, and you don't have representation.
Right.
No taxation without representation.
Right.
But I also have an issue when you are under probation, and you're paying union dues, and the union can't do anything for you.
Right.
But you're still paying. Plus, you can't use the benefits
that
for about
they're-
6
yeah,
months,
right.
6 months.
Yeah, I think it's
You-
going to cause the unions to actually probably find ways in their internal
They have
body
to-
to
exactly.
kinda restructure and
Exact-
rework some of that.
Exactly.
Because
exactly.
it could be very devastating if it's not worked out. Because imagine everybody decide, or a very substantial number of people jumping
leave
off
the
the ship,
union.
saying, "I want the benefits, but I don't want to pay for it."
Exactly.
You know, I mean, what happens then?
But I think it's the
Yeah.
responsibility of the
It's the
union
unions,
too
right,
to be
yeah.
responsible for
Oh,
the
yeah.
membership.
Yeah, the unions have to. The leadership has to really kind of
Exactly.
get their You can't just say, "Well, okay, you're part of the union." You got to make them feel that they are, you know, they're, you,
and
you
that's
know,
the
that they're being
and,
represented
right,
right,
and
you
that's
know,
the danger.
has to be more of a democracy.
Lyndon, before we go, because we're soon in it, I wanted to firstly say one way we might raise some taxes is to put a tax on some of the new vehicles that are being used, like the Lime bike program. I was just reading some
Right.
municipalities are having problems with them, and that's something to consider, nominal tax. But I also know that from a discussion we had recently, you passed a very innovative legislation.
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to know if you gave you the opportunity to share.
Oh yeah,
with
let me talk about that a little bit. For years, I've been actually I had written some legislation going back a few years ago, and what caused me to listen? There was a case that came down from the United States Supreme Court that said that you can't have quotas based on rate. It virtually can't make any kind of race-based decisions about contracting, allowing people contracts.
Okay.
You know. So what ends up happening is that you got a lot of minority contractors or people who are like, okay, they have like these statements saying, we aspire to hire more contractors, but we just can't mandate it. We can't do it. And I said, so I thought about, well, what about these areas where you have people with high unemployment and high poverty rates
Right.
who need jobs? What about them? And I wrote a bill that says we're not looking at any race. We're looking at the economics.
Right.
So it will come. There's a formula that I actually put in the bill that says if you have, let's say, let me give an example. Let's say the countywide unemployment rate is 6%, right? And let's say, I'm not gonna use Mount Vernon because let's say Scarsdale's unemployment rate is 15%, right?
But we're talking about Mount Vernon. Good, no, good.
Or let's say
50%.
Mamaroneck, where they have lots of Latin.
15%. So they're way above the county,
Right.
right? And the same thing, you have a low poverty rate countywide, but there's a way out. What I'm saying is that if you were to work a formula out and you would direct the contractors to hire from Scarsdale and Mamaroneck because they have these high employment and poverty rates. So if you bring their rates down, these high rates down, you're bringing down the county rate, and you're creating employment where really need be. And so nobody can challenge that.
Right.
See the example I used?
Right.
No,
No, that's a good example.
So really, that's a good example. So everybody it works for, if you've got the higher unemployment rate, then you should, and it's not taken away from anyone anyway. It's not taking from one community and giving to another. It simply says that the county will outreach in these communities to kind of even out and bring the unemployment rate down, bring the poverty rate down.
Would there
It's
be
not to the exclusion of
training
anyone else.
training
Yeah,
involved?
part of the whole thing, you've
some
got
of these people
training.
need to be trained. Yeah.
Part of the thing you have a training. You have also the programs that deal with reentry is a part of the bill.
Absolutely.
Also,
That's great,
members,
great, great,
So
great.
reentry and training would be a part of the bill also. So basically, it's in the state legislature now. I've spoken to one of the state assembly people in New York City, and he says, "How do you guys come up with this?"
Well, I just want to say to Damon real
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Right.
Damon, your conversation about the Janus brought out one of your coworkers, Hector Lopez, has just joined us,
Yeah.
and he said, "What's up to the whole crew?"
Hey, what's up? What's up? What's
Yeah.
up? What's
Oh,
up?
I didn't get to do everybody's shout out, so thank you for everybody who's listening because I didn't normally call out everybody's name. We didn't get to that today. So, any last words? Anything we didn't ask you want to share?
Yeah.
Any words of advice?
Well,
anything?
I think you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate what you're doing. I just want to reiterate again tomorrow that people come out tomorrow night to support Christopher Ridley. Let's do this, and let's show with pride that we appreciate what he has done. There are a lot of heroes in this world, but sometimes you don't have a chance to really kind of recognize them. Ordinary people doing great things, so I appreciate that.
Bob.
Well, I mean, to you.
We have 9 more minutes, so I mean.
Oh, we got 9 more minutes.
We started at 6. We started at
That
6:09.
changes the story. I'm like,
Yeah, but
I don't want you to talk. I don't want you to talk for
are you
9
taking
minutes.
off?
Yeah.
I don't want you to talk for 9 minutes though.
No. I just.
We want to thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for coming through.
Yes, definitely. Okay, no, thank you. I will. Okay.
We want to thank you for coming through. Greatly appreciate it.
Something the same thing that I said here, right? That's cool. Yeah, okay.
So, Damon, go ahead. I know you got something.
No, I just think it's good, man, because for the county to finally, recognize Christopher Ridley. It's been a long day coming, Black officers, whether you are in police, correction, probation, we got it rough, man. And a lot of people, a lot of people don't realize that. I mean, there's only a few of us that will speak out. I mean, it's that type of character and position, it chooses you. You don't learn, you don't go into it to speak out on issues. But those that do, this is part of the result, to continue to discuss issues, racial bias in policing and in the culture and what the culture is all about, to make sure that, that will inspire legislators, lawmakers to recognize our work. After the demise, man, and how Christopher Ridley was portrayed, and the arguments, and it was his fault, and when you have when you have other police officers pointing the finger, saying the person is dead because he made the mistake, and he was doing the job that he's sworn to do. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but I really think, as a black law enforcement professional, we have to continue to educate the public on what's going on in our profession, So I'll be happy, to be there tomorrow. I can't wait, because it's a long time coming, for them to pass something, and it'll be even greater when the memorial gets erected.
Right.
And I believe it's the first of its kind. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a memorial in the country, and that's something I have to research and find out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think there's a memorial in the country that is dedicated to a black officer that lost his life to police.
Right.
Right? It's probably a memorial of a black officer. But what about a black officer that lost his life to police?
Right.
So I think that'll be another chapter in my book.
Mm-hmm.
But I really think that, tomorrow's a great day, man, and we all should be humbled, and it should be packed with black law enforcement from throughout Westchester County, because it says something about your job that you are valued,
Right.
It also says we have to keep fighting. We have to keep calling a spade, and call it like it is, and not being scared. I mean, I put something on my Instagram the other day, man. Like if I had Thanos's Infinity Gauntlet,
Yeah.
right?
I just have to imagine what that is, but I think I know.
You
No, I don't know who Thanos is, but I got you.
You haven't seen
Gauntlet.
Infinity War yet?
He had,
Nah, was that
he-
was the one that just came out?
Yeah.
Yeah, you haven't seen
He
that
had to
yet?
collect
it.
all
Oh,
the-
come on, Dr. Bob. You gotta get out the books, man. If I had that Infinity Gauntlet, man, I would just snap my fingers, man, and make coward-ass Negroes disappear. Because that's part of the power.
Well, that's the only thing that's gonna do it. You gotta be a little intergalactic superhero.
So just to be clear for those
to make Negroes disappear.
So just to be clear for those who understand, the Infinity Gauntlet had 5 stones, and once he got all 5 stones, his whole thing is that the human race was adding up too much that would never survive, and he by doing this he made half of the human race
Yeah.
extinct. You know what I'm saying? It's for the future of the rest of the human race.
Yeah,
But
he-
that's what
but
that's
he
what
had
this
that
is.
power, man.
Right.
And I put it on Facebook, man.
So we had to make them a race so we could survive. So the real
Yeah,
ones
I
could
just
survive.
felt, I felt some type of way the other day, and then I was just, man, I wish I had an Infinity Gauntlet, man, make you coward ass Negroes disappear, just like the, and then you never seen it, yo, let me see if I can pull
half
it.
the people just
Hold on.
disappeared. Like
Let me see if I can pull it up on YouTube,
I don't know, is it going to be a copyright thing?
huh?
Is it going to be a copyright?
Oh, it might be a
thing?
copyright
Yeah,
thing,
because
man.
then it'll make our video disappear.
Oh, yeah, man. Well, I'll show you on the phone how they disappeared.
Okay.
They just disappeared, man, like turned into paper,
Yeah, they just disappeared. Like
Well, we can't
It
do
was
that. I
like-
mean, we
it
could
was
get the
like-
Wizard of Oz and just
No,
get
but
him
it'd
to
be
give
like
some courage
the
to
4
all
of
the
us-
cowardly lions out there.
it was like the 4 of us sitting here, 2 of us would just disappear.
right.
Okay.
Like while the rest of the 2 were just standing there. Like,
And
what the hell? Like,
I'll
yeah.
be talking to you. I'll be like, yeah, Bob. And I'll just
I
be
just
like-
thought, yeah. I'm not there anymore.
All right, so we got a few seconds left. Last words, Lorraine.
Yes.
You didn't get to talk much. You didn't want to discuss anything? Any last words? Anything coming up?
I have nothing to say about my burning.
No, it doesn't have to be about Mount Vernon. Anything you want to talk about real
No,
quick?
I'm still working on getting the supplies
Oh,
for those kids in Puerto Rico.
Okay, that's you making that noise? Oh, okay. It stopped, though. Go ahead, Lorraine. You're still working on the Puerto Rico,
Oh yeah, did you mention the Liberty? The
Oh.
Black
What?
Westchester
Black
Day.
Westchester, man. Give the date. I
So
forgot the date, man.
Saturday coming up, Saturday, July 21st, will be Black Westchester Comrie Enterprise Day at the New York Liberty game versus the Washington Mystics. We're taking some youth, Lorena and Tasha Diaz, shout out to Tasha Diaz who's listening, are going to get some youth from Yonkers.
Real quick,
We're going to take some youth from Mount Vernon. Go ahead.
something that he forgot. Big shout out to Deputy Commissioner Louis Molina and the Westchester County Department of Correction. They're really moving forward on really trying to end recidivism. They have they are partnered with Manhattan College, and he sent me the press release and everything. We're gonna have it in Black Westchester to give college courses to the inmates.
Wonderful.
To give college courses to the inmates, and big shout out. He just texted to me, but big shout out, and we're gonna get that on Black Westchester. That's what it's all about.
That's awesome.
Okay, so 2 things. Tasha Diaz. Damon, you got that right. People are scared to speak up, but they want change. Strength is in numbers. If we get together, we can accomplish a lot. Ken Bright, I commend Damon for calling out these capital letters Negroes in parentheses. Thank you for change.
Yep. Thank you, my brother, for the support. Thank you, Tasha.
So shout out to Ken Bright, Tasha Diaz, Oscar Davis. See who else is tuned in since we weren't able to get to you. Monty Whitaker from Maryland, Hector Lopez.
Hey, Hector.
My cousin Wayne Robinson in Atlanta. Who else? Tasha Young. Shout out to Tasha.
Shout
up,
out to
Tasha?
Tasha.
Hi, Tosh.
Tyrone Williams. Who else? Sorry I didn't get to everybody's comments. There was a lot of comments and questions. We didn't get to them. And I apologize to those that we missed. Their phone calls. Jeff Monroe also.
Brother Jeff.
Brother Dennis that I used to have a radio show with in Long Island. His radio name is Den Dub. Shout out to Dennis. Anybody else? I think I got everybody. Marvin Church, Dwayne Brown.
G, what up? What up?
I believe. Forgot Uncle Frank.
Uncle Frank.
Shout out to Frank Julio Jr.
Frank, I ain't gonna tell you we was thinking about stopping by to see you the other day. I know you're gonna be like,
the
yo,
other day.
full of it.
We were supposed to. But Bob's car didn't go that direction. So I don't know what happened. It just went in a different direction. I don't know what happened. He said we were going. I thought we were going. And he said, don't forget Uncle Frank. He said that. So we didn't forget you. Hey, family. And Tasha said hello to everybody. So with that said, we're coming to the end of the show. You could be doing anything right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This, as always, is Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show every Sunday, 6 to 8 on InTheMixRadio.com. We are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the newspaper with the August issue. August is the 1-year anniversary. August 5th, Sunday, August 5th, is the 4-year anniversary of this radio show. And
wow, 4 years.
And wait.
This
and
is
today,
older than my grandbaby.
And today is the 4-year anniversary of the launch of BlackWestchester.com.
Okay.
July 15th. Yeah, I didn't even realize that was the date.
Christ, I didn't even
So
realize
this is the launch. Today we officially launched BlackWestchester.com. With that said,
make sure everybody advertises.
Yes,
please.
absolutely.
Take out, advertise, support your black business.
Absolutely.
4 years and going.
With that said, until next week, peace.
2 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse.